Okay, perfect. So, hello everyone. We are here to hold this session for the Revocation Committee candidates. So, this session is going to be held because after all the back and forth between the community and the Grant Support Squad, and after the last poll that the Grant Support Squad submitted, this was the way that it was supposed to happen, the next step for selecting and approving the new committee members. So let's go first with a little bit context. So I know who wants to start from the Grand Support Squad.
I could jump in here. Thank you, Fez. I don't know if everyone could see my screen. I am sharing now. We make a little presentation for this occasion.
Perfect.
All right. Well, hello first to everyone. Here is Sino from the Grand Support Squad. Thank you, Fede and Facilitation Squad, to host this space. It's really important for us and for the entire community. As the committee has voted, we are here in the open session with the Revocations Committee candidates. The idea of this session is to commence with introduction from the candidates, followed by an open round of Q&A between the community and the candidates, which will be moderated by the facilitation squad, as Fez said at the beginning of this call. But first, I want to tell you a little of this agenda that we prepared, basically our presentation, that is the introduction that we are doing. Then we will have a little of background and context of this Revocations Committee and the purpose of the Revocations Committee. So first, I want to introduce, and I want to start by saying that what we do, basically. The idea is to provide some context about why the committee was created and what is the changing with this governance proposal, the Revocations Committee process, basically. Today, we analyze the grant, and if we detect concerns in the project, for example, if they are not delivering or if they are changed considerably the original roadmap voted by the community, or if the project is considerably at risk because they have technical blockers, we make a recommendation to the DAO committee to pause or revoke the vesting contract. Then the DAO committee executes the recommendation. So this is a problem, right? Because we are judging and recommending to execute an action that has a lot of negative connotations to the grantee without someone reviewing our recommendation. So the purpose of this revocations committee, well, as Fede mentioned before, we went through a governance process and the community voted that the Grant Support Squad team should present each case with arguments and recommendations and assign responsibility for the assignment to a new committee. This procedure is resolving the problem by changing the power that our squad has in the process, because this committee will have the sole responsibility for reviewing our recommendations, reviewing the grantee arguments, requesting technical help if it's needed, and making the final decision, giving the grantee the possibility of having a fair procedure with a third party. I want to thank you to everyone to be here in this open session. I hope this provides more transparency and accountability in the revocations process with the creation of this committee. And stay tuned for the updates on the committee process. Again, please continue with the process. And again, sorry, thank you for host this open session. Thank you.
Oh, thanks to you, Zeno. And well, as he mentioned, we should start as the process was supposed to happen. First, we'll go with introductions in alphabetical order. So I think, let me check who are connected to the meeting, but I think the first one can be Dax. Hello, Dax. Are you there?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. My bad.
No problem, no problem. Just go ahead.
Yeah. So for my introduction, I think probably many of you know me to some extent. I've been involved in Decentraland since about 2017, and have been involved in the DAO since about a year and a half or so, I would say. I am a current grantee with a project called DCL Metrics. And yeah, I hope to, I think that I was among the people who were first discussing the Revocation Committee and why it would be kind of a helpful addition. So yeah, that's kind of how I got started with wanting to join this.
Okay, Dax, thanks for that introduction. So the next one could be Deadhead DJ. Are you there? Okay, perfect. Next one could be Mariana.
Hey everyone, what's going on? Yes, my name is Mariana. By the way, if you hear any background noise, I'm at NFTLA, so there's some background. But yeah, so I've been in Decentraland since December 2021. I come from a heavy accounting and finance background. I've worked in a public accounting firm for 4 years before switching to a hospital and managing revenue there. Kind of got interested in the DAO and have been involved in the DAO since like last May, I would say. And then more recently with been delegated. I think with the background from my auditing for not-for-profit foundations at EY, I kind of understand what kind of, particular proposals and budgets should be, how funds should be allocated, how funds should be kind of, standardized to be checked to make sure everything's kind of going, correctly based on like GASB. So I thought I would, join or apply for the Revocation Committee to potentially bring some accounting background to potentially help develop and structure a better framework for how our DAO as a whole can be effective in the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Mariana. And the next one is MetaDodge. Are you there? I think you are muted.
I think he's server muted, so maybe someone with admin needs to unmute him.
Yep. Yeah, I'm trying, but he's not being unmuted.
Yeah, on mine it doesn't. I'm trying to unmute him too. I don't know if it's us or him. It looks like it might be on his side because I don't see it muted.
That's weird.
You can try now, MetaDodge.
Oh, right.
Cool.
Yeah?
Yep.
Right, so just on time. So I suppose this is just, yeah. So hello guys, so I'm MetaDodge, and I suppose this will be an introduction section for me, right?
Yep.
Yeah, right. So I'm MetaDodge, and running several projects like MetaLife Studio, MetaDodge, and MetaGaming More, but essentially they're the same thing for now. And I'll be very honored and appreciate if I can be one of the Revocation Committee member. And since I was one of the earliest grantee of the DAO grant programs, and so I've been very lucky to to witness the development of the whole DAO grant process, and So it gives us a lot of experience on the on the process, and also help me to realize those weak points of the among this process. So I think my experience in the DAO grant, will definitely help in this position, and also like I mentioned in the in my profile, I'm Chinese from China, but currently live in the UK. So I'm also running the in a kind of a regular meeting between all the Chinese my members. Most of them can't speak in English, and those who can doesn't speak too much. So I'm kind of the most active member in the Chinese community at the moment. So that means I can express their views and show how they look at the DAO. As a complementary things to to this process. And yeah, and lastly, I think I'm just quite honored to be part of the Decentraland organization. Well, it's not foundation, but it's DAO. I think that's still honor for me. So yeah, altogether, I'll be very appreciative if I can have this opportunity to join. Yeah.
Thanks, Metadosh. Okay, I think the last one is Serena.
Hi, everyone. I'm Serena Ellis. I'm an artist, entrepreneur, singer. I kind of do a little bit of everything. I've been in Web3 for the past 3 years, actively creating, experimenting, and innovating in music and art. But before Decentraland, I was in timeshare sales, which is pretty much high pressure sales and boxing and closing customers. And I also have a background in adult entertainment and also music entertainment. So I have a pretty strong background as far as different careers. But recently, November 2022, I applied for a grant and I got approved, and I went through the whole process, and that went pretty smoothly. So I felt that, I can contribute more into the DAO and just into the community as much as I can, because I really do enjoy this platform and I do want to see it succeed.
Okay, thanks, Serena. So I think Tudamon is asking if he's part of this. I think this was for the selected candidates, and yeah, I think that for this round, it's not that you'll be part of this. So I think we introduce all the present candidates, so we can jump into the questions and answers round. Well, we got here. Let me share my screen. First of all. Can you see my screen?
Yep. Looks good.
Yes,
Perfect.
good.
So here we got a question from CK, and it says, please explain why you feel you are a trustworthy and objective person to be considered as for this committee. So is this question for anyone in particular or for all the candidates? Okay. Who wants to jump first? Who wants to answer this question? Okay. Yep, go ahead.
I don't think you're unmuted, whoever's.
Yep, go ahead.
Yep.
Thanks to you, Deadhead. Okay. Any other of the candidates who would like to answer that question from CK?
Yeah, I can go next. It's Mariana. Yeah, so like how Deadhead was saying, yeah, kind of being objective. So pretty much, from my background, I've had to be objective and maintain professional skepticism like my entire career. And also you have to kind of remove any, you kind of you have to be independent in all situations. So, that means like I had to not, with some of these proposals, like, yeah, some people are like my friends, but like you have to be objective to like the overall, goal of the proposal. If it's not going to help Decentraland, or if the, the data doesn't show that it's going to be successful, then, I'm going to use that objective and skepticism to, guide that it's not the right decision. But yeah, I think overall in the last year, I hope that I've proven to be trustworthy through my contributions to the DAO, to the community. So I hope I haven't really rugged anyone. But yeah, no, like I said, my nature of my professional career has always been to be objective, follow a framework, get guidance if there's any discrepancies or, policies that haven't been, fully, maybe researched on. So yeah, I'll always, be objective. If there's like a situation where a grant indirectly or directly, potentially involves me, I'll step out and, not have any, decision on it, just to remain independent in that situation.
Thanks, Mariana. Yeah, thank you. I think Dax was about to answer the question too. I saw you were unmuted.
Yeah, that's right. I can go next.
Perfect.
So I think for me, I have tried to be transparent with the decisions that I make when I'm voting or when I'm trying to explain something in the DAO channels or forum. And also, I think when I do occasionally make mistakes or get the wrong opinion about something, and it comes out later that I made the incorrect decision, I try to make it clear that I didn't pick the right thing. So I think for me, it's reputation, and most of you have seen the decisions that I've made, talked about the decisions that I've made. I try to be open with the decisions that I do make, and when I get it wrong, I try to also be transparent about that.
Thanks for that, Dax. So
maybe I can go next.
Perfect.
Right. So yeah, just like the others, I think I do reckon I have a transparent and trustworthy records based on all the reply and the comments that I had in the DAO forum, and also more importantly, being trustworthy and being transparent means, it kind of it not only just emotionally makes sense, but also logically makes sense to my personal interest, because I've been in this place for almost 2 years, and my whole projects, my whole kind of business is operating on Decentraland. So it just helped me positively thinking every day that how to grow my business better, how to grow, how to contribute to the success of Decentraland. Because I'm considering me as a part of the ecosystem, so I just logically think it's definitely makes sense for me to be trustworthy, because reputation on Web3 is everything. We don't have the legal part, the things you have in real life does not have that much impact on Web3, but instead, on the contrary, like reputation is everything. So that it just makes sense both logically and emotionally. So that's my answer. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks for that. And I think the only one missing is Serena. Would you like to answer this question, or should we jump into the next one?
Sure, I can answer. Well, when I think of trustworthy, I think of past actions. Throughout the years, I pretty much have delivered as much as I can. I've been pretty reliable in this space, and I'm pretty transparent for the most part. I'm always open to communicate, and I'm open to listening. So I think key factors here are just being really mindful, self-aware. And I know that if I do make a mistake, or if there is something that doesn't, align to whatever reason, I'm able to be accountable. And I think that's some qualities that are really important. So, yeah.
Thanks, Arena. So I think we can jump into the next question. Here's one from Ojav, and it goes like, how will you determine whether submitted information about a guarantee is hearsay or speculation and actual fact? Is this question directed to any specific candidate, or it's also for all of them?
It's for all of them.
Perfect. Who wants to jump first?
I can go first.
I feel like I'm out of order, but go ahead, Dax. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So I think the first thing is just that, or I guess the first decision to make is whether or not submitted information can be objectively proven true or false. I think there's some things that we're going to come across that are opinions that we can't possibly have the ability to actually objectively prove. I think that's a case-by-case basis, so I'm not sure that there's going to be immediately a rubric for how we do that. But since this is a full committee, not like just an individual decision, I'm confident that as we come across these cases, we can discuss this together with the other committee members and try to ferret out what are the facts, and rely on each other's strengths to try to determine what are the things that we can objectively prove, and what do we have to toss aside.
Thanks. Maybe you can continue, Deadhead.
So for me, it's also same as what Dax is saying. I think we are a team effort here. So whether it be 5 and then 2 backups or however that will work, I just sort of look at information of whether it's credible. If it is the person, does the person have a strong reputation? Are they dependable? Are the facts dependable? Those things are sort of hard to tell, especially with a new grantee. But with a team of people, I do believe that we all come from different backgrounds, and that's the whole point of having a team of us. I like the work group session and just determine whether or not somebody or the facts are reliable, really, and whether or not they have a good reputation within the community.
Thanks, Deadhead. Yeah, Metadosh,
Yep.
You want to answer?
Yep, of course. Yeah. So yeah, I think the yeah, teamwork is the key point, because every part of every members has their specialties, and have their special gift in this to contribute to the platform. For example, I know that Dax is running the DCL metric, so if there's any data related.
I think I can hear him.
Neither do I.
Okay.
I think I got rugged. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so while MetaDodge gets back, any other of the candidates wants to answer the question?
Yeah, I'll answer.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
go you, Serena, first.
Okay. Well, I think the one thing that's really important is to kind of just block out the noise, because sometimes you may be getting too much information from everywhere. So that would be a key for me. And then obviously communicating with everyone, finding out solutions. I'm a person that loves to write things down. So just kind of writing down, the details of what is happening, if there's a solution for it. And this should all be done at a very calm level. And I think with that, we'll be able to find a solution.
Thanks, Marina. Yeah, let's go with Mariana first, and then you can go again, MetaDodge.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so kind of the teamwork, and then just kind of taking every, claim as like a, per basis, like kind of like level basis. Pretty much there's gonna have to be like a lot of involvement with, talking about like the grant support squad, but also, reviewing the overall growth of this grant at the moment. Like, okay, like is the speculation, in correlation with, how that grant is currently, performing at the moment? Is there, is just one person who has some sort of bias against someone who's, making these claims? Are there other people who believe that this claim is going on? So there's definitely going to have to be some research involved in, grant by grant basis. But yeah, and I see the next question is going to be about KPIs. I think, even like putting, starting to have those KPIs in the back of your mind of that current grant at that given moment of, the revocation assessment will be very, impactful or key to determine if that grant continues on. But yeah, just overall communication, blocking out the noise, as Serena said, and just taking everything as objective as you can without, having someone influence why that grant should be, revoked and whatnot.
Okay, thanks, Mariana. And MetaDodge, would you like to take it again?
Oh yeah, sorry. my Wi-Fi just my Wi-Fi just disconnect me. So yeah, so it's about just about teamwork, and all I want to say is everyone has their strengths in this in this team, and I think my strength is to see the the feasibility of the idea, and how practically it is to deliver the promises. And also, I need to see the right evidence to support their saying. So yeah, that's basically what I'm trying to say. And all this information, all these experiences, were getting from my own projects. And also, I'm an OG player as well. So, and also developer. Kind of need to use this technical experiences and business experiences to value and to judge whether those the things are objective or not. So that's the thing how I do it. Yeah.
Thanks, MetaDodge. And as Mariana just mentioned, the next question is about the specific KPIs that you should consider at the time for making your analysis. So it kind of goes as a continuing of the last question. I know who wants to jump first.
Yeah, I can go first.
Perfect.
Yeah, so KPIs, or how can you, I just like turned off my screen. What was the first part of the question?
Yeah, sorry. We'll get back to it. Is in your own words, please explain what kind of analysis you plan to make when making decisions. Please be substantive about the KPIs.
Okay, gotcha. All right, yeah, so first, the first step would be to review the information and facts of the grant first. So making sure, okay, this team, let's confirm the team, let's confirm that, they are doing the work for that set category, whether it's like the platform development, content creation, blah, 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 whatever. Sorry. Second, seeing where that overall grant is in terms of like the metrics of like their what is it called? The parcel performance, maybe the user retention and engagement. So like, are they bringing in new people? Are they engaging with the community on their social media? Are they bringing some sort of value? So definitely, making sure that there is some sort of social or financial impact to the community, whether that's receiving a percentage of some sort of event back to the DAO, or empowering creators to contribute to a portion of the proposal. The return on investment for the proposal, the engagement and consumer retention on that proposal. Are we seeing the posts? Are people supporting it? Just overall community satisfaction on how this grant is performing. But then also, assessing their budgeting. Are they, saying what they're, doing quarterly? If not, it's okay if things, don't go as planned, originally. But kind of just like, being transparent on why those decisions were made to, change or alter the course of the proposal and whatnot, which will always happen due to just blockers and whatnot. Just making sure that the grant is performing and providing value to the community as originally said, and that the community can vouch that is occurring.
Thanks, Mariana. Another candidate that wants to share.
I can go next.
Okay.
Perfect. Let's go first with Dex and then with Serena.
Okay, sorry. So I think that, again, this is going to be somewhat of a case-by-case basis, because if I understand the process correctly, we're going to get a recommendation from the grant support squad, and so that will have some kind of information about what the grant is potentially being revoked for. As well as I think that we as a community have gotten a lot better about requiring roadmaps, requiring some kind of idea, like firm, solid idea of what it is that a grant is going to try to accomplish before the grant gets accepted. So I think the major thing that we should be trying to evaluate against is the idea of what the grant said it was going to do and how far it's deviating from it. So like Mariana said, of course, there's going to be situations where things don't go as planned. Some tech that they expected to work didn't work, or a member of the team, is sick and can't fulfill their duties. These things happen. We shouldn't just revoke a grant based on that. But also, like Mariana said, transparency goes a long way, and having a plan for what happens now when those things aren't present or information can't be given as to what the new plan is. I think that's probably a big red flag. I also think that probably when we first start, it will be a little bit difficult to figure out what these KPIs are. But as we go on, we'll be able to make some kind of, let's say, like syllabus of what to look for in terms of evaluating these grants.
Thanks for that, Dax. So you can go now, Serena.
Sure. So the first thing is kind of analyzing and reviewing, I guess, the grant. And if there are any problems, I think the best thing to do is ask questions. I'm a believer if you ask the right questions, you'll get the answers that you're looking for. So, just asking those questions and find out the answers, and then going to the team and discussing that. And it should be agreeable upon everyone that what the next step should be. One thing that I personally would want to do is always be encouraging to the grantee, because they are off gear a little bit, but seeing if there's any ideas or solutions we can give to the grantee to kind of support them. Also, I don't believe in discouraging a grantee from their ideas, so I just think using that as a small tool. And if they're not able to kind of, go on the path that they're supposed to with their grant, then, that's something that would have to be digged a little deeper, and then, make a decision if it's not really aligning to what is supposed to happen, and then taking action from there.
Okay, thank you. Who wants to be next? If not, we can jump into the next question.
I would like to answer. I haven't answered yet. This is Deadhead. So I think it's important to review the grant, and where are they in relation to where they should be? What's happened? Why are they off target? Why are they not meeting their deadlines? Is it repetitive? Is it something that it's a one-time thing? Are they sick? Is it an issue? It's communication. So I think the most important thing is just really understand where they're at and where what we can do to help them get back on track. I would obviously like to remain positive and assume that they will continue in the manner that they should. And if unfortunately, if not, then we move forward. But I would like to really, understand what's happened. Why are they off track? How far off track are they? Do they not make their deadlines? Do they not communicate? If it's something like that, then we move forward. And I hope that's not the case. But remaining positive and giving positive feedback, I think, is really important too. Thank you.
Thanks to you. Metadosh?
Yep, I think, so for this question, I think I'll just go with 2 steps. So the step 1 is to check their direction. Because all of the, we are applying for revocation committee, so that means, one proposal has been, approved by the community. So if something has been approved, then it has a certain goal and direction to go. So if they say, hey, they want to build a game, but instead, they build a tool for the community, and that could be a very useful tool, but it's not it is derived from their, original direction so much. So if this is the thing, then I'll probably, don't think that's a good situation. And also I would check the task. I think, we just realized, just like the, previous talker said, we're doing business. Everything, everything unexpected could happen. So that is true, but there's a benchmark for that. So I would say at least, they should fulfill like 70 to 80% of their promises to keep going. So yeah, so that's on the metric side. And if it belows that benchmark, I think it's definitely a red flag. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks to you. So we are like about 20 minutes remaining to end this session. So we will focus on 2 or 3 more questions. It depends on the time. These 2 have like the same support. So as a continuing of this question, we can go with this. How will your analysis of a given grant be shared with the community? These KPIs, this analysis, how will you share it with the community?
I can. Oh, are you sure? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is something that I actually want to bring in as like a implementation to the overall grant support squad and the revocations committee's squad. But so like there is something called like an independent auditor report, but I was thinking of making something called like a DAO report or whatever. We can figure it out. But essentially, there's going to be like whatever 4 sections: the introduction, the scope, the procedures performed, and then conclusion. We're pretty much making like a set, standardized template to include for all grant revocations, to have that decision just finalized and documented somewhere. So I think that's definitely something that's important. I haven't seen it yet, and I think it needs to be like done like pronto. So I would say that, and then distribute it, whether that's through Discord or some sort of DAO. I don't even know. Emailing list, do we have that? I don't even know. But yeah, having some sort of maybe like finalized like quarterly report or monthly report where you issue out these reports. Like in public accounting, they do this every quarter. They'll pronounce a MQ also during the month if anything else comes up as like a going concern. So something like this.
Thanks, Mariana. So you can go ahead, Deadhead.
Mariana, that's great. Actually, I like your idea. For me, I just thought it would be nice to obviously provide updates within the given channel. If something's not, which is where I get all of my information actually from the grant support squad when there's issues. But in putting it into this analysis is something I would look forward to. So thank you for that.
Yeah, of course.
This is what I like about this team, because I don't have that type of background, and she has this type of background, and I think it's important to have people with varying backgrounds.
Okay, thank you. Any other candidate that wants to answer this question? Okay, let's jump to the next one then. It is this one. A person can be deemed offensive to others, while words are just words. If that team is doing what they should be doing, is that a reason for them to be revoked?
I'm sorry to interrupt. You guys missed the one question. Are you willing to question the claims of the grant support squad? Are you?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. You're right,
Yes.
Sula. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Because it was way up here. Sorry, you're right. Yeah, this is kind of an interesting one. Thanks for calling that.
I can go first on that one.
Perfect. Let me read it, and then you can start, Dax. Are you willing to question the claims of the Grant Support Squad? Are you planning on separating yourself from communicating and working with the Grant Support Squad?
So from my perspective, I think being willing to question the claims of the Grant Support Squad is kind of the entire point of these two things separating. Because currently the Grant Support Squad is the one looking into why a grant may need to be revoked, and then is making decision based on their own research. Whereas by splitting them, there will be some kind of separation, so that if the Grant Support Squad makes a recommendation, the point of this committee, at least as I understand it, will be to dig into this research, to ask our own questions, to create our own analysis, and then build a decision based on what we have independently come up with.
Thanks for that, Dax.
Yeah, I think Dax pretty much summarized it pretty well. That's pretty much the main objective of the committee, is to be that governing body above the grant support squad, to then have that final analysis over the grant. But then also, sure, there's going to have to be communication with the grant support squad, but this committee has to be as independent as they can from the grant support squad, as if we are doing the analysis ourselves. However, obviously the grant support squad will be doing more of it. But yeah, it's going to be important to have, that independent mindset or independence with without the grant support squad to make those rational decisions.
Perfect. So I think that what Dax just said and what Mariana pointed out, it's a position that most of the candidates will support. But any other comment that you want to add?
Well, I think that's a basic benchmark for applying this work, to be honest. So yeah, so I think they're pretty much right.
Okay, so now we can go with the question that I made a couple of minutes ago. Here it is. Let's go with this one, and then we go with the last one, also posed by Ojob, that it's gathering a lot of support. So let's go first with this one. A person can be deemed offensive to others, while words such as words, if that team is doing what they should be doing, is that a reason for them to be revoked? Who wants to jump first?
I would like to take that, actually. If a person's being offensive to others, in what way? In Discord, in Twitter, or in relation to the grant? I'm a little confused by the question. I don't know if the person who typed it actually.
I was going to ask the same. Is the person that posed that question here wants to clarify?
I guess, if not, if the team is doing what they should be doing, is that a reason for them to be revoked? No, I don't see why. If they're meeting their milestones and they are producing what they say they're supposed to, I don't know what that has to do with the grant. If they're being rude or offensive to community members, there's other ways of dealing with that. I think the grant is completely separate from personality issues, or what somebody may perceive as a personality offense to them. I don't know what else the person's really trying to ask other than that.
Yeah, I think you answered the question.
Okay.
I can go next. I think that I agree with Deadhead. I also think it kind of depends on the grant. I mean, if, for example, I don't know if we've seen grants like this, but just as an example, if it's, a grant to provide community support and the relationship that the grantee has with the community is getting in the way of them fulfilling a community support grant, then I think maybe it is a reason for revocation. If it's a purely tech-based grant and the person or team is fulfilling their milestones while not having a good relationship with the community, I don't think that necessarily gets in the way of them performing their responsibilities as a grantee.
Thanks, Dex.
Yeah, I would. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep, go, Serena.
No, I was just gonna say I agree with both of them that I think those things should be separated. As long as the grantee is meeting their deadlines, I think that it shouldn't really be questioned. As far as their personality or what's happening in between, if there's any type of drama, I think should be separated or dealt with in a different way.
Thanks, Serena. And Medalos, do you want to comment something on this?
Yeah, I think that I totally agree with them, and I think just we do things professionally, and we can, if someone just being offensive, we can choose to not engage with them, in privately or in any public circumstances, but we should do our job professionally, and do our work, based on our job description, right? So yeah, I agree with all of them. Yeah, we shouldn't revoke this grant just because of someone is offensive or not.
Thanks, MetaDodge. So if we don't have any more comments on that one, we can jump into the last question, and then we are going to clarify the next steps in terms of the pathway for selecting the new committee members. And well, that's all. So here we go with the last question. As I mentioned also, it's from Ojov, and it goes like, how will you handle a committee member who is, in your opinion, not being objective and unbiased? Who wants to go first?
I can take that on also. So, I mean, we're all different people. We come from different places, and sometimes there's language barriers, there's communication issues, but really it's just questioning what the difference is and really understanding their perspective. And unbiased also is very, I think, subjective. I think it's just a matter of really, so I think that all of us need to be in line. I think we're going to have differing opinions, and we should. I mean, we're talking about revoking someone's potential livelihood. And I mean, it's something I want to avoid. I'm sure the rest of the team would want to avoid as well. So I really need to better understand, what does that mean, not being objective? They have a difference of opinion. And is their opinion correct based on fact, or is it feeling? More of a, let's get down to the basic of what their feeling is versus their fact. That's sort of what I would try to, I guess, work with my other community members. Why are you differing than maybe the rest of the team? Which I hope we do in a way. We don't need to fall in line. We need to always be questioning for the best interest of really the grantee. That's what we're here for, right? Protecting that person. And also protecting the DAO when needed, if they're not living up to what they're supposed to be doing. I actually anticipate that we'll have differences of opinion. I look forward to that. Thank you.
Thanks for that reflection, Deadhead DJ. Deadhead Shay, sorry. I'm pronouncing in a bad way your nicknames. So who wants to be next?
I could go next. I think Deadhead kind of hit it on the nail. When it comes to opinion, it's really all a matter of perspective. So I think the most important thing is also look at the person's perspective and see where they're coming from, and see, if there's anything that we can agree upon, and then make a decision from that. So to me, it's perspective would be the right word.
I can go next. I agree with what Deadhead said in spirit, but I'm not necessarily sure if I agree with it practically. I mean, I think in probably most of the cases, let's say 80% or 90% of the cases that we'll have to try to sort through, I'm anticipating and kind of hoping that it will be situations mostly like, okay, this person or team requested a grant. They said that the roadmap or the milestones that they would meet would be X, Y, and Z, and they haven't reached these milestones. So I think for a lot of the situations that we're going to see, it will be, okay, did the team meet those milestones or did they not? And in those cases, I think it will be relatively objective. So, I mean, I'm sure that there will be cases where, there is some subjectivity to it, where we have differing opinions. Of course, that's perfectly fine, and yeah, should be encouraged in cases where things are subjective. But when my guess is that the spirit of this question is that if there's a clear and somewhat obvious choice, and someone on the team is not making that obvious choice multiple times, then how do we sort of handle this? And in that case, I would say I think this probably also has to be somewhat of a community effort. I mean, I know that at the moment, if I remember correctly, there is a way to kick someone out of a committee. That's already part of the way that a member is elected to committees. So I imagine that it would go in with this same process.
Thanks for that, Dax. So we're coming to an end. I don't know if the other candidates want to do some comments on this.
Yeah, I'll just quickly just mention just having accountability over one another. Like as a team, we'll just need to make sure we are all, and with a collaboration with the community, making sure that we're all being objective and having no biases. So it's definitely going to be like a overall group effort to make sure that there's nothing that's, making a claim or decision biased. That's all.
Thanks for that. So, okay. We are 5 minutes away from ending this meeting. I think we covered a lot of the topics that were supposed to be discussed. Also want to mention that as Bay and MasterPass weren't able to join this meeting, we're going to forward them the questions for them to answer them in private, and then we can share it in a general chat or in our channel. We'll see how we do it. And I would like to invite the Grant Support Squad to share the next steps in terms of this selection.
Hi, thanks. Thank you for that. Well, the idea is to publish a poll per candidate so the community could vote for each one. Then we'll see what happens. Basically, we are using the same process that the DAO committee has.
I know it looks like Chris was having trouble typing or something. I don't know if we can allow for voice questions for him. I don't know if that's an option.
I hate to tell you I hate to tell To the Moon thank you, but I appreciate that. I don't know if that's available. Is that allowed or is not? If it's not,
yeah, we're about to wrap up this meeting, but maybe if you can share that question here in the Slido, we can share it with the candidates that weren't able to join and with your candidates for them to answer it later, if you agree.
I mean, I'm driving, so I can't force my opinion on you guys. If it's not, I can't do it, and it's okay. But I would prefer to. But I respect any decision you guys make.
Yeah, you can send it later. It's no big rush with this. So if you want, we can leave this Slido open for a couple of more hours, and once is like we can close it, and as I mentioned, we can forward it to the candidates that didn't attend to this meeting, and with your question for the other ones that could attend to this meeting. But yeah, this meeting was supposed to have a duration of 1 hour, so we're sticking to that. But be sure that we're going to share your question and your concerns with all the candidates. Okay, so I think we are good to wrap up this meeting. I think it's also pretty clear what are we going to do in terms of next steps with the questions and with the process. So, well, good luck to all the candidates, and let's see how it goes during this week. Thanks everyone for joining too.
Thank you, Fede.
Thank you.
Meeting. Thanks everyone for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.